No one is being censored. And tonight, I'm going to clear that up for everyone live. So stick around for all that and much, much more that's coming right. Live from Northern California, welcome to Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli. And if this is your first time here, and most importantly, you are open to suggestions and change, please consider subscribing and then banging that bell. So that way you won't miss a single thing when it comes to getting a better grip on your life. That's right. I am here to help as many people as possible that are open to it to get the best possible grip on your life, so that way you can all accomplish whatever it is that your heart or hearts desire. That's what it's all about. All right, welcome to the show, everyone. Welcome to the show. My apologies for the late start. I had some things I had to take care of, and took me a little bit longer to prep for the show tonight. I'm still a one-man show until this show grows to a level where I can hire someone. I'm doing this all on my own, so please bear with me. But once again, my apologies for the late start. Let me make sure that the notification has gone out on the YouTube side of things, and it has gone out. I want to check out the back end of YouTube and see if things are rolling normally. And yes, they are. And I just also want to make sure that Facebook is running well, because once again tonight we are simulcasting live on Facebook. Let's see, normally, and yes, they are. And I just also want to make sure that Facebook is running well, because once again tonight, yes, okay, we got 5 people on the Facebook side of things and 6 people on the YouTube side of things. 11 people here live with me right now. Thank you so much for spending your evening with Coach Eli. Also, before we move further, I would love to once again pay props to this channel's amazing sponsor, Mr. Troy Brewer. He is the CEO, founder, and owner of the Discover Community Network. For all of your product and service needs from the most trusted professionals in the industry, please visit www.discovercommunitynetwork.com. One more time, that's www.discovercommunitynetwork.com. You can also visit a subsidiary of the Discover Community Network known as the DCN Internet Radio Network. And when you go on that website, you're going to find a bunch of talk and music internet radio stations. And more than likely, one of those talk or music internet radio stations will suit your, music and or talk genre needs. So if you like listening to talk radio or music throughout the course of your days, please consider visiting www.dcninternetradionetwork.com. One more time, that's www.dcninternetradionetwork.com. Both those links are below the description on the YouTube side of things. And if you go to check out those websites and you also find out how to further connect with Troy by phone or by email, and you reach out to him, please do not fail to mention that Coach Eli sends you, as always, with lots and lots and lots and lots of love. Coach Eli has lots of love for everybody, despite where you come from, despite who you are, despite your views, despite anything. As long as you're a good, normal, decent, down-to-earth, reasonable human being, I have lots of love for you. And if you're not a normal, decent, down-to-earth, reasonable human being, I still love you too. I probably won't focus a lot of energy on you because I like to keep things drama-free in my life. Coach Eli's life is a drama-free zone, including his social network out here on Facebook, YouTube, and even on Twitter, LinkedIn, etc. And here's the thing, folks. It's really, really sad. I've had to ban a lot of people lately from my, regular in-person network. Most of you that have followed me for a while know that before I started, running YouTube live streams and videos, and now I'm simulcasting on Facebook. Before I started doing that 4 years ago, for the previous 10 plus years before that, I was running and attending in-person networking events. I did a lot of public speaking in person, and I also attended a lot of other public speaking engagements with other entrepreneurs. So I did a lot of networking, met a lot of great people, and those people now, some of them, they disagree with certain things that I say, which is fine. But, instead of, disagreeing reasonably and professionally and saying, hey, dude, I feel differently, but hey, that's your opinion. They, will either laugh at me or they will attack me in hateful ways. And unfortunately, if you're going to treat me that way, whether I've met you in real life or digitally on Google, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, anywhere else, I'm going to remove you. I have a zero tolerance zone for hate and attacking and just immature, inappropriate behavior from grown adults. And that's part of what I'm going to be discussing here tonight. So let me check out the Facebook side of things. Things are rolling on Facebook. Hey, is that Scott Wrestler? Awesome. How you been, man? How you been? How are things going? Yesterday, I had a lot of people engage on the Facebook side of things, and I didn't realize it until halfway through the show, and I believe those people, left by the time I started responding to their messages. I'm going to be paying close attention to Facebook tonight and to YouTube. I'll be flipping back and forth. For those of you on the Facebook side of things, on the screen, I always display the YouTube chat. So if you're on Facebook looking at the video portion, you will see the YouTube chat. If you're on YouTube, unfortunately, if you want to see what's going on Facebook, you're going to have to connect with me on Facebook at facebook.com/Elias Melas 73, or just look up Elias Dimitri Melas. If I know who you are and I trust you, you can send me a friend request and I'll accept that. If not, you can follow me because all of my simulcasted live streams on Facebook are public as well as on YouTube. So you'll still be able to, see the chat and still be able to, participate without becoming a Facebook friend. So that is that. So let's get right to it. Okay. The topic of tonight's show is censorship. Let's clear up my thoughts about it, as many of you are misunderstanding this. One more time, censorship. Let's clear up my thoughts about it, as many of you are misunderstanding this. So, for the last week or so, in spite of recent events that stemmed from last week when our still current president for at least another week, Donald Trump, he ran a rally in the D.C. area near the Capitol building several hours before Congress was to get together to finalize and certify the Electoral College vote to give Joe Biden the official victory. And then, obviously, after that Trump rally, while Congress was certifying the votes, there were riots. The Capitol building was attacked. So I've been talking about it because ever since that point, things have gotten pretty crazy on social media, and many social media outlets have started to censor people, including the president, that are inciting hate or inciting violence. And I've received a lot of feedback regarding this on both YouTube and on Facebook. But more so, what's kind of hitting me is the Facebook side of things, because I actually know a lot of these people on Facebook. I met them in person, and they know who I am. They know the type of guy I am. But they seem to be misunderstanding my thoughts about censorship And my thoughts regarding a stream I did yesterday, if you missed that, go back and check out the replay, regarding that I agree with what social media platforms are doing, in regards to the censorship that they're doing. And a lot of these people that I've known for a while, great people, my friend Nicholas, my friend Rick also as well. Rick, I don't know if you're watching or you'll catch the replay, but I got all of your comments, and every single one of you was saying, so you are okay with censorship? You're okay with people not having their freedom of speech? No, that's not what I said. That is not what I said. And tonight, I'm here to clear that up. Now, I want to see if I can actually find that conversation. Oh, there it is. There it is. There's the conversation, I believe, with Nicholas. Give me a second here. Where was that conversation with Nicholas? Give me 1 second, because it was a very, very interesting conversation. And I would love to read it. So, okay, here it is. I've got it on my phone here. So, my good friend Nicholas from my in-person network on Facebook, shout out to you, Nicholas. And I have lots of love for you, bro, because you and I can agree to disagree and still be friends. And I like that, dude. And I really like your responses to me. I mean, I'm straightforward and so are you. And I like that, dude. It makes things interesting, bro. It makes things interesting. So this is what Nicholas said yesterday. He said, so you're okay with this censorship. Watch when they shut you down because you don't agree, don't agree with your posts. Censorship goes both ways and you can be next. It's true. Anybody can get cut off these sites at any point. It's at their discretion. And I'm going to get more into that in a little bit because I have a blog I'm going to be reading from CBS News tonight that stems back about 6 months ago, still relevant to this day, that's going to explain what's really happening here and what social media is doing and how many people on the right are misperceiving this as a censorship of freedom of speech, which it isn't that, okay? When YouTube deprioritizes your content and you lose revenue, so you're okay with that kind of control. I wrote back to Nicholas and said, Nicholas, I don't like hate and incitement of violence. I was very clear about that throughout my entire show. I follow the guidelines on all social media, and regardless, I choose to be a good person in general. I don't behave erratically like some of the right extremists. At the end of the day, I love everyone and wish we could all get along. That will be the day. Thanks for your feedback, man. Happy New Year to you and your family. And he gets back to me and says, Elias, Happy New Year as well. Thank you. Although I don't agree with you, you handled my criticism well. Well, thank you, bro. I'm a very reasonable guy, dude. I love hearing people's feedback as long as it's done constructively, right? And you're very constructive with your criticism. I love that. See, that's the way I wish more people would be like Nick. So Nicholas, I wrote back to Nicholas and I said, Nicholas, people don't always have to agree on everything. The world would be a very boring place without discussion and different opinions. My only issue is people that resort to hate and violence when you don't agree with them. Right. They attack you solely because you have an opinion and they disagree with it, right? Or because of the color of your skin, or because you're male or female, or because of your sexual orientation, or anything like that. Like, I don't like racism. I don't like hate. I don't like incitement of violence at all. None of that. That totally just turns me off and makes me want to run for the hills from anyone like that. Then I further wrote, I said, these people are mentally and emotionally unstable and need some serious professional help. Of course they do. They really do. And the more that you say that about them, when these people watch your content, that are from the right and are actually mentally and emotionally unstable, they become even more mentally and emotionally unstable. They become more triggered. It's funny. It's funny. With a reasonable person, you can have a great discussion regardless of where your views come from. Thanks again for your feedback, bro, and have a great day. Now, you see how we handled that? Okay. See, Nicholas, voiced his opinion. Obviously, Nicholas is probably a little bit more on the right. He's not an extremist, but he's probably a little bit more on the right. And I'm a little bit more on the left, but I'm not an extremist as well. And we had a very civil conversation. At the end of the day, he said, hey, dude, I disagree with you, but I respectfully disagree. And you handle my criticism well. Absolutely, man. And that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. So a lot of people are thinking that social media companies are trying to silence your First Amendment right. And that is definitely not the case. That is not the case. The funny thing is, a lot of these people that are complaining about this don't realize that these social media platforms are private companies, and they have the right to moderate their content in any way possible. And that's been made possible by Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. I keep talking about this, but I'm going to keep talking about it until people understand it. I really wish people would understand this, okay? And Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act gives social media companies protection from being sued for moderating their content that they don't want on there. For example, content that incites violence, hate, racism, vulgar language. If you put nudity out there, a lot of these sites will take you down, right? That's within their rights to do so as part of Section 230. And it's their house, right? Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all of these platforms, they are self-hosted. What does self-hosted mean? It means that they've built their own servers, not only here in the US, but all over the world. They have large database centers all over the world that were built by them, are run by them, and it's all their equipment. They have their own internet bandwidth, their own, hard drives, hard disk storage space. So it is completely all theirs. They can do whatever they want to do within the law. But they can do whatever they want to do. They have the right to remove you at any time for any reason. They don't have to offer you their service. An example, how many of you folks have gone into a restaurant and, as you're walking out, there's a sign above the door or a sticker above the door that says, or even in the restaurant, there are signs that say, we reserve the right to refuse service to anyone. At least here in the US, you have the right to refuse service to anyone. Now, you really shouldn't, refuse service to people unless they're causing issues. And you also shouldn't refuse service to someone just because of the color of their skin, their race, their sexual orientation, etc. Now, do you still have the right to refuse service to anyone? Sure. But how is that going to make you look if, let's say, you're a straight business owner and you have a gay couple that's getting married and they want to come into your bakery and buy an expensive wedding cake from you, and because you say, I'm sorry, because of my religious beliefs, I cannot sell you this cake. I think that's ridiculous. Again, you have the right to do that, but should you do that? Would I do that if I was, the business owner in that situation? No. Business is business, and people are people. And just because I choose to live a life of being a straight man doesn't mean everyone's going to choose to live their life that way. Everyone has the right to live their life the way they want to live their lives, right? Let me check out the Facebook side of things real quick here. Okay, nothing going on Facebook. YouTube, on the YouTube side, Lewis Fuller, good evening, Coach Eli. I'm watching your ads in full. Thank you, Lewis. You say that every day, but I appreciate it every day. I just gave you a like. Thank you, Lewis. And Let's World says, hey, Lewis. Awesome. Awesome. So when you go on these platforms, you need to read the terms of service. And you need to abide by the terms of service. Because if you don't, you risk the chance of being removed. And I will tell you, over the last 4 years that I've been on YouTube, between a former channel I used to run and this one, okay, over the last 4 years, I keep mentioning it, I have to mention it again for example purposes, I've been attacked by far-right extremists and people from the alt-right. And they were completely violating YouTube's guidelines, terms of service. And while YouTube has taken action on most of them by this point, the truth of the matter is some of them are still in existence. They haven't been shut down. And the ones that did get shut down, it took 3 or 4 years for YouTube to get to them. So a lot of these people, for many, many years, have been getting away with violating the terms of service because, YouTube's a busy company. They deal with a lot of different aspects every day. And no matter how many people you hire, when you have a platform that has 2 billion plus users each month, it's very, very difficult to moderate. And they're trying to do the best that they can. So now that, more action starting to be taken, in spite of recent, events involving the president, people are saying, okay, we are having our freedom of speech squashed. And that is certainly not the case. I'm all for freedom of speech. I'm Greek American. I was born here, but my family roots stem back from Greece. But I'm an American, and I'm proud to be an American, and I'm proud to live in one of the freest nations in the world, a nation that has the most free enterprise out of anywhere else, compared to anywhere else. I'm proud to have, freedom of speech and other rights, okay? But I'm also proud to be a good human being. I'm also proud to live my life with positivity and to do my best to not try to harm others, at least not intentionally, and do what I can to make this world a better place, including, uplifting other people instead of, kicking them down just because they disagree with my viewpoints, right? So that's what's really going on, folks. That's what's really going on. Before I get to reading this article, this show's not going to be too terribly long tonight. We're only going to be on probably another maybe 20 or 30 minutes. Before I get to this article, I actually heard on CNN before I went live tonight that the FBI is planning to protect all 50 state capitals and, our nation's capital on, days leading up to Joe Biden's inauguration and on that day and maybe even, for a little while after that. They're really preparing for this because I hate to say this, but I have a feeling that, a lot of these right-wing extremists and people on the alt-right and a lot of these people that, I like to now also call Retrumplicans, kind of like Chris Cuomo calls them on CNN. A lot of these Retrumplicans, Trump supporters, they're still very angry and they're very bitter. And their rage continues to grow. And a lot of these people just don't realize, why a lot of the people on the right are supposedly being silenced, including the president. It's not because we don't want you to have a voice. We want everyone to have a voice. It's because you folks feel that hate and incitement of violence should be part of your freedom of speech. Look at the way you guys are behaving. No strong, decent person, male or female, is going to do harm to others, especially in the ways that these people did harm to the Capitol building last week. which killed several people. Speaking of which, I heard another thing. I heard that the FBI now is considering pressing federal murder charges on these people that got arrested for storming the Capitol. I hope they do that. These people need to learn their lesson. A lot of these people, folks, here's the thing. The reason, I'll mention this again like I mentioned yesterday, the reason why I'm so passionate about this subject and why I've been talking a lot about it lately here on my channel is because I've dealt with these people on YouTube, the same types of people. These Trump supporters, they've been attacking me for years, and it's kind of silenced a little bit now. It's kind of slowed down a little because they realize if they continue doing this, they're going to get shut down themselves. But a lot of these people are very unreasonable, and you can't have a conversation with them that's going to get anywhere. Because with these people, with these Trump supporters, you either 100% agree with their agenda or they want nothing to do with you. And even if they do talk with you, they're not open at all to hearing your views. So it's not even worth dealing with these people. And if these people are attacking you and harming you and they're getting away with it, like many of them gotten away with it out here on YouTube, the only thing that's ever going to stop these people and teach them a lesson is to put them in jail. I've been saying that for quite some time, and I'm going to continue saying it. A lot of these people are just, they flip their marbles. They're very mentally and emotionally unstable. They're very unhappy within themselves. And the only thing that's going to stop these people and possibly reform them is to put them in jail. So as far as these people that have been arrested by the FBI for storming the Capitol last week and being a part of what caused, I think it's now 5 people have died, okay? They're considering putting federal murder charges on them. FBI, you have my blessing. Do it. Teach them a lesson. Put them away for life, or worse, or more. Give them the death penalty. I bet you if the FBI started taking this type of action and using people as examples, I bet you more and more people would reform. I bet a lot of these Trump supporters, these right-wing extremists, would more so reform and start to be a little more reasonable. And if they still didn't get the hint, then they would be next to deal with the FBI. That's what it's going to take. Well, I just got a message from somebody behind the scenes saying that she is in the ER again. Ma'am, I don't know if you're watching the show from the ER, but I have no idea why you're in the ER. And it's one of my moderators on my channel. But if you want to let us know, that's no problem. You're going to hear the little bloop hangout sound as it comes through on my computer. You're going to hear it through the stream, so please ignore that. One of my other moderators, Queen Helen Casey, is asking, what happened? Are you okay? So hopefully everything's okay with one of my moderators behind the scenes. Give me just one more second here, folks. All right. So we are at 29 minutes. I wasn't going to take a break, but I am going to take a quick break because this article is actually, it's not terribly long, but it's not terribly short either. It's going to take me at least probably 30 minutes to get through it. And I want to be able to go through it with, some really, really good energy. So I'm going to cue up some music here in a second and step away for a quick break. But before I get to that, I want to update you folks on something that my pinched nerve and all the issues I was dealing with, over the past 7-8 months is like 99% healed. Like for the first time, after the stream last night and all day today, like I feel like I can just totally walk almost 100% again. And if you haven't been following me for a while, has to be about 7 or 8 months now. 7 or 8 months ago, I pinched a nerve, herniated a disc, and I had pain radiating through my feet and my hands. You get that tingly sensation, and for the first time in like 8 months, I feel like I'm almost completely healed. It is amazing. It is amazing what the human body can do to repair itself if you take care of it. And folks, I'm in great health. I work out all the time. I eat as healthy as possible. Even then, you're going to deal with things. You're gonna deal with things that are going to happen. You're going to herniate a disc. You're going to sprain something. Things are just going to happen. We're very active people at times, so. It's just amazing to me how I'm getting distracted because these messages are going crazy on Hangouts. Let me find out what's going on with my moderator here. All right, I'm going to have to mute this conversation happening behind the scenes. It's part of my private moderator group on Hangouts. It's just a bunch of drama going on. And honestly, I really don't want to deal with it. I can't stand drama. Anyway, all right, I'm going to cue up some royalty-free YouTube music. Give me 1 second, folks. Give me 1 second. And just need one more. All right, folks, I'm going to step away for a 5 to 7 or 8 minute break. When we return, I'm going to be going over a blog titled Censorship on Social Media. It's not what you think. It's going to explain everything to the people that don't understand the difference between freedom of speech and hate speech and incitement of violence. For the people out there that are thinking social media is trying to silence people and silence your freedom of speech, you're going to want to stick around for this. This will clear everything up. At least I hope it clears everything up, because it's not going to be as clearly presented and stated as I will do when I get back from the break. So with that being said, stick around. We'll be right was about to say, welcome back, right, Mug? Ha ha. Yeah. Hey, Coach Eli is all about peace, love, harmony, and unity. Peace, love, harmony, and unity. Peace, love, harmony, and unity. Are you with me? Are you with me for some peace, love, harmony, and unity? Oh, yeah. One can only hope, right? One can only wish for things like that. Great things, right? Positive things, right? Yeah! Feel good, folks. I want you all to feel good. We are dealing with some interesting times in our country here in the U.S. If you're in the U.S., and we're actually dealing with some interesting things, and we're living in interesting times all over the world right now. We've got this pandemic. We've got this crazy transition of power happening. You can probably barely hear me. I have the music cranked up. I need to turn down the music. Let me turn down the music. All right, now you can hear me a lot better, right? Had the music cranked up a bit too loud because I love music. It makes me feel real good. All right. Welcome back. Like Muttnuts World says in the chat. To Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli, live here on YouTube. And once again tonight, also simulcasting live on Facebook. The people on the Facebook end, stick around. I'm going to be responding to your comments in the comments section here in just a few minutes. Welcome back to Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli. That's what this show is. And the reason why I call it Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli, because this crazy modern world we live in is unlike anything we've ever seen. And we're all still learning, even us older folks. I'm 47 years old. By this point, you would figure I have learned everything and us grown adults have learned everything, but no, we're learning about this new world we're living in. And that's why I do this show, because I want to share my thoughts regarding what I've experienced, and I also want to hear your thoughts regarding what you've experienced as well. And if you're on the YouTube side of things, or even on the Facebook side of things with the people I've known for quite some time on Facebook, I would love to interview as many of you as possible live on the air anytime in the near future. If you are interested, please go to the description of the YouTube section or within the Facebook posting, and you'll see my email there. Email me at Coach Eli at coach.eliasmelas.com. That's Coach Eli at coach.eliasmelas.com. Let me know you're interested in coming on the show. If you run a business, we can talk about your business. And then once we're done talking about the business, we can also talk about any other topics you want to discuss. We can talk about the current political state of our country, in the U.S., of the world. We can talk about other things as well. I'm a business and personal relationship coach, also known as a life coach. And I have lots of experience, in dating. I have lots of experience in business, working in the corporate world for almost 17 years, and now in being an entrepreneur for over 13 years. So I'd love to share my thoughts with you, and I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. And together, we can better learn from each other, right? Together, everyone accomplishes more, or everybody accomplishes more. That's the TEAM acronym, and I fully believe in that. How many of you believe in the TEAM acronym? Put it in the chat on YouTube and on Facebook. All right, the topic of tonight's show is censorship. Let's clear up my thoughts about it, as many of you are misunderstanding this. One more time, censorship. Let's clear up my thoughts about it, as many of you are misunderstanding this. I think this is clearly a misunderstanding amongst the people that are saying, social media companies, big tech, is beginning to silence people's freedom of speech, and that is the furthest thing from the truth. I have an article here I'm going to be dissecting in just a second that will hopefully clear all of that up. But first, let me go over to the Facebook side of things, and my good friend Maria. How are you doing, Maria? Long time no hear. It's great to reconnect with you, and great to have you here on the stream. I'm not sure if you're still around, but Maria writes on the Facebook side of things, there are extremists on both sides. That is definitely true. And it is the extremists that are creating havoc. And I've always said that. I agree with you. You and I, Maria, have always had great conversation on Facebook, and we've always gotten along. And I appreciate that. There are people on both sides, although are not aggressive as they are. Everyone should be entitled to their own brief, and hence freedom of speech, freedom of religion, etc. Although there are lines that shouldn't be crossed, respect is lost, consideration is lost, compassion is lost, understanding is lost. Maria, you're basically saying the same things I've always been preaching, and I'm going to continue to preach until hopefully, maybe I can make a difference in making this world a better place. That's part of why I do what I do out here. But I've always said this: everyone's entitled to their own opinion, whether you're on the left, the right, down the middle. It doesn't matter what your political party, preference is. It matters who you are as a human being and how you show up as a person and how you treat people in general. Okay. And you can respectfully, disagree with someone and still be friends at the end of the day. Hey, bro. Hey, gal. I understand where you're coming from, but I disagree with you. Here's the reason why. But hey, once again, I appreciate your feedback. Thank you so much. And you can still be friends at the end of the day. But then you get those extremists like Maria was talking about. Those people are so extreme that it's either their way or the highway. And personally, I can't deal with people like that. I cannot deal with people that are not open to hearing what others have to say. They're stuck and set in their own ways. Now, so with that being said, why does it seem like, the right-wingers are more picked on in regards to, social media and the mainstream media? Why are the right-wingers the ones that are complaining they're being shut down and they're being silenced? And why are they the ones that appear to be the more reckless and sometimes violent ones, inciting hate and inciting violence and all of that? Is the left not causing any of that? Is the extreme left not causing any of that? No, I'm sure they are. We just don't see it. You know why? Because, and this has been a proven fact, I've seen this talked about by many people, and I've read many articles of this. The right-wingers, especially the right-winged extremists, the alt-right, okay, the very conservative people, they are much more active on social media than the left. I noticed that there are probably 3 times as many active conservative people on the internet compared to liberal people. So that's why it appears to be the way it is, in my opinion, from what I've seen. And because I'm a slight left liberal, and because there's much less audience that is going to more so resonate with my message than the other side, that's why it's been even harder for me to grow a good audience out here, because the people I'm looking to target are not online as much, and they're not participating as much. And I really wish that one of these days, that's why I'm now simulcasting on Facebook as well. I'm trying to get everyone involved, whether you're on the left or the right, because we all have an opinion. And together, we can, figure these things out better together in unity. So, Maria, thank you so much for your message on Facebook. If you're still around, feel free to comment. It was great to reconnect with you. Also, if you ever want to do an interview live on the air, let me know. I would love to have you. And same with you, Scott, earlier, that was here on the stream at the beginning. I'm not sure if you're still here or not. Back over to the YouTube side of things, nothing else going on there. So let me just get right to this article here. Let's go ahead and switch over to the browser source. And just need to get a little liquid. So, my throat's not dry because I like to talk a lot, especially when I'm running a show by myself. Now, this is a an article from CBSNews.com written by Inez Novacic, written August 28, 2020. So probably about, what was that, about, 4 or 5 months ago. Still very, very relevant, and probably will be very relevant for a long time. This is going to really clear up what's been going on in regards to censorship on social media, and it's not what you think. Like the title says, censorship on social media is not what you think. One more time, censorship on social media is not what you think. So let's just get right to this. Musician Joy Villa's red carpet dresses at the past 3 years Grammy Award were embellished with pro-Trump messages that cemented her as an outspoken darling of the conservative movement. Well, if she's dressing that way, that's the statement she's making, right? So people are going to assume that. Okay. With over 500,000 followers across Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, Villa refers to her social media community as her Joy Tribe. Okay, I would too if I had that many followers. I have far fewer followers than that. I have close to 5,000 on YouTube and a little over 4,000 on Facebook. But I still, respect and love my tribe per se. And a few years ago, she enlisted them to help wage a public battle against what she claimed was YouTube's attempt to censor her. How many people have said, YouTube is trying to censor me? YouTube, doesn't believe in free speech. YouTube censors the right and favors the left. That's all I keep hearing. And that's the furthest thing from the truth. It's the furthest thing from the truth. But let's continue. We'll get more into that. All right. I had released my Make America Great Again music video on YouTube, and within a few hours, it got taken down by YouTube. Well, right now, if you do anything like that, you're probably going to get removed because you only have one person to blame for that. President Trump and his behavior and actions and his incitement of, violence regarding what happened at the Capitol building last week. So if you have anyone to blame, that's the commander-in-chief that you seem to love, man. But that's okay. It's your right to do so. Okay? Villa told CBS and Originals, I took it to the rest of my social media. I told my fans, hey, listen, YouTube is censoring me. This is unfair censorship. No, it's not, man. No, it's not. It's not. They have the right to allow whatever content they want on their platform and take down content they don't want. And if they feel that the content someone's putting out there is hateful or incites violence or is trying to share things that you may be stating are true, which have been proven otherwise, they're going to remove that. And I honestly support that, right? I don't want to see a bunch of garbage trying to appear real on any platform. Villa saw it as part of a pattern of social media companies trying to shut down conservative voices. Nope, that's not the case. That's all I've heard for the last 4 years out here on YouTube. Okay, that's not the case. An accusation that many other like-minded users, including President Trump himself, have leveled against Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter in recent years. Now remember, this was written about 5 months ago. We now know Trump has been removed from all these platforms as of a few days ago. Let's continue. But those who study the tech industry's practices say that deciding what content stays up and what comes down has nothing to do with censorship. I'm one that agrees with that. This has nothing to do with censorship and has nothing to do with your First Amendment right of freedom of speech. Let's continue. We'll find out what it has to do with. There is a problem in the United States that when we talk about free speech, we often misunderstand it. This is what's happening, folks. The people that are complaining like this lady is misunderstanding what's freedom of speech and what's hate speech vulgar language, inappropriate content, incitement of violence that these companies don't want. Said Henry Fernandez, co-chair of Change the Terms, a coalition of organizations that work to reduce hate online. Who wants to deal with hate? Like honestly, to you folks out there, do you feel that hate and incitement of violence should be considered part of your First Amendment rights? Do you think it should be? And even if it is, would you want to behave that way? Do you respect people that behave that way and attack others in that way and treat others poorly? Come on. That's the problem I have with this. The First Amendment is very specific. It protects all of us as Americans from the government limiting our speech, he explained. And so when people talk about, well, if I get kicked off of Facebook, that's an attack on my free speech or on my First Amendment right, that's just not true. And I agree, it is not true. It is not true. The companies have the ability to decide what speech they will allow. They're not the government. One more time, they're not the government. If you remember anything throughout this entire stream, remember that these social media companies, these high-tech giants, are not the government. They're privately owned businesses. A YouTube spokesperson said Villa's video wasn't flagged over something she said, but due to a privacy complaint. Okay, that can happen. Villa disputed that, but once she blurred out the face of someone who didn't want to be seen in the video, YouTube put it back online. Great! So you fixed the issue, and YouTube put it right back up. And her video remains visible on the platform today. Okay, great. You see, you do the right thing, your video stays up, right? Beautiful. Beautiful. At YouTube, we've always had policies that lay out what can and can't be posted. And it's true, they have. They have the terms of service, the community guidelines, the copyright guidelines, and if you're a part of the YouTube monetization partner program, like I am, you have the ad-friendly guidelines as well. I follow all of them. All my videos are monetized and clean, and they don't get removed. Okay? Our policies have no notion of political affiliation or party, which is true. But a lot of the right-wingers think otherwise. They think that, because YouTube is in San Bruno, California, which is only about 22 minutes north from where I live here in Redwood City, California, they think YouTube is a leftist company. They're a left-leaning company. Well, they may be more on the left. The people that work there, we live in California, and in California there are more liberals and conservatives. That doesn't mean they're running their company that way. And most decent liberals don't have a problem with conservatives in general. They have a problem with people's piss-poor behavior of hate, vulgar language, inappropriate content, and incitement of violence or incitement of anything bad. And it doesn't matter whether the left or the right does something like that. If I were to incite hate and violence on my channel, and I'm slightly on the left, they would take me down too. So where's the issue? Where's the issue? I just choose to not behave that way, so I don't get shut down. But I choose to not behave that way not because YouTube's forcing me to do it, because that's the kind of person I am. That's how I want to live my life. That's how I was raised to be. And we enforce them consistently regardless of who the uploader is, said YouTube spokesperson Alex Joseph. Okay. While Villa and others on the right have been vocal about their complaints, activists on the opposite side of the political spectrum say their online speech frequently ends up being quashed, for reasons that have gotten far less attention. You violate the guidelines, you incite hate, you mention racism, you incite violence, you do something that breaks the rules. It doesn't matter if you're on the left or the right. You're going to get removed eventually. if not right away. That's the bottom line. Okay, give me 1 second here, please. All right, let me check out the Facebook side of things. See if anything is coming through over there. Maria says, thank you. Good to reconnect. It's great to have you back here, Maria. Yeah, let me know at some point, if you're open to doing a live interview. I really want to re-engage with everyone back within my Facebook network. Most of you, I met you either in person or I was connected to you through someone I met in person. So it's really nice to have you back here. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Let me check out YouTube real quick, and nothing else going over there. So let's continue. All right. So let me see here. Carolyn Weisinger, however you pronounce her name, an activist who provided Facebook feedback and guidance about minority users' experience on the platform, told CBS and Originals that implicit bias is a problem that permeates content moderation decisions at most social media platforms. There's no bias happening. Get that out of your heads. This is not about the left being biased, right? This is about people either following the guidelines or not, whether you're on the left, the right, down the middle. It doesn't matter who you are. The rules are set for everyone. Why are more people on the right being removed than the left? Because the right violates more of the guidelines. Because the right is a little bit more unspoken. And in my opinion, a lot of these people on the right, especially the Trump supporters, the ones that are on the far right, or this new wave of, so to speak, conservatives, I like to call the alt-right, okay? They're not the most educated people, no disrespect, those are just the facts. They're lower class people. They had a rough upbringing. They weren't raised with the best morals, values, and ethics. So they like to shoot from the hip. And a lot of them have been through so much that they're mentally and emotionally unstable, at least to a certain extent, if not completely. And so you're going to have more of these people on the right lashing out in ways that violate guidelines, which is why it appears that the right is being silenced more than the left. The truth of the matter is, it doesn't matter if you're on the left or the right or down the middle. You violate the guidelines, you're out. If I violate the guidelines, I'd be out too. So I don't violate the guidelines. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. In the community standards, white men are a protected class, the same as a black trans woman is. The community standards does not take into account the homophobia and the violence and how all those things intersect. It takes all of them as individual things that need to be protected, said Weisinger. Everyone is equal. Everyone chooses to be the way they want to be. Okay, if someone wants to, be gay instead of straight, that's their choice. I have lots of gay friends and they're great people. Okay, I'm not going to attack, them just because they're not straight like me. They have the right to live their lives in the ways that they choose to live their lives, right? Everyone does. So yeah, there's no bias. And there aren't any protected classes on social media. Everyone gets treated equally. Excuse me. I've got a dry throat tonight. I need more liquid. Okay. Let's continue here. The artificial intelligence tools that automate the process of moderating and enforcing community standards on the sites don't recognize the intent or background of those doing the posting. What they're saying there is that the artificial intelligence does not understand context. I've done 4 political streams lately. This is the 5th one, but the previous 4 I did before this one. Okay, the first 3 of them were demonetized, meaning YouTube's artificial intelligence, read that, okay, because of what I put in the title, description, and the tags, or what I may have said in the video, because they do have speech recognition and they have, subtitles and captions. It assumed that my video was not advertiser friendly. But when that happens, YouTube gives you the option to submit for a human review. Okay? If you feel your video was inaccurately demonetized by the YouTube artificial intelligence, you submit it for a human review. And those, first 3 political streams I did last week out of the 4 I did before this one, this is the 5th one, I submitted all 3 for manual review, and YouTube viewed them, at least enough of the video to see that, hey, he's speaking in the right context, and they fully remonetized them. And then the very next one yesterday, was not demonetized. And see, here's the thing. When you run a clean channel like myself, and let's say the artificial intelligence, makes a mistake, and you submit it to, a human reviewer, and they overturn it, and they fully remonetize your video. The better, how do I say this the right way? The more clean your channel is, the more positive, feedback there is on your channel to YouTube and the artificial intelligence, the more laxed, this is from what I've experienced, the more laxed the artificial intelligence is going to be on you. It's going to start to trust you more. So when you use words in the future in your titles that used to get demonetized, were overturned by a manual review, and you use them again, it is less likely to demonetize you because it's seen enough consistency of what you've done that's been good, so it starts to trust you, right? Then you have those channels that get demonetized every time. Why? Because every single piece of content you put out there, is content that's not advertiser friendly or borderline violates the guidelines. So yeah, the automated processes don't always get them right, but how are you going to moderate a site with 2 billion users per month, even if you have 100,000 employees? Seriously, it's hard to do. So they're doing it the best that they can. All right. For instance, Weisinger said, I have been flagged for using imagery of lynching. I have been flagged for violent content when showing images about racism and about transphobia. Well, depending on the context you're using it, if you're talking about it in an educational way, in a proper way, yeah, you may get demonetized, or you may get your content removed, but you can appeal that, and it may get overturned. But again, it's their decision. It's their decision if they want that on the platform or not. According to the platform's recent transparency reports from April to June 2020, nearly 95% of comments flagged as hate speech on Facebook were detected by the artificial intelligence. And on YouTube, 99.2% of comments removed for violating community standards were flagged by AI. You have to use the AI. There's no way you can moderate a site such as YouTube or Facebook without the artificial intelligence. All right. So I was just checking the text message real quick. That means you're putting these community standards in place and you have these bots who are just looking for certain specific things. It is automated. It doesn't have the ability for nuanced decision making in regards to this, said Weisinger. What that means in plain English is it doesn't understand the context of, you using certain words. It's one thing to say, hey, I'm against racism. I really wish racism would stop. That's a good statement. That's within the guidelines. But if you were to use the word racist or call someone that, it may be against the guidelines. It may at least get your video demonetized and possibly removed. Context matters. The artificial intelligence cannot typically tell context, which is why they have human reviewers. Biases can be built into the algorithms by the programmer who designed them, even if it's unintentional. Over the course of time, like YouTube was saying, when they first changed their monetization system and added the yellow dollar sign several years ago, okay, it wasn't as good as it is today. But the more and more human reviewers were dealing with demonetized content, it started to more and more so train the artificial intelligence. And I will be honest with you, it is a lot better today than it even was a year and a half ago or 2 years ago. So it's gotten a lot better. But it's never going to be perfect. You just have to learn how to use the system. You have to learn how to create your titles and how to state your opinions and your facts in ways that are going to give you the best chance of staying monetized and not being removed. You got to take that all into consideration. Be professional. Be as professional as possible like I am, and typically you won't have any issues. I've never had any on YouTube ever. Unfortunately, tech is made up of a homogenous group, mostly white and Asian males. So what happens is the opinions, the experiences that go into this decision making are reflective of a majority group. I don't agree with that. I think they're very diverse. I don't really like what was said there, to be honest with you. I don't really like what was said there. This has nothing to do with race. And so people from different backgrounds, Black, Latino, different religions, conservative, liberal, don't have the accurate representation that they would if these companies were more diverse. They are diverse. Blog author. Come on. They treat everyone equally. There's no bias based on any of these aspects. But that's what some people think. That's what some people think. They don't realize the reason why they're getting removed is not because of what this guy's saying here. It's because they're violating the guidelines one way or another. And then they say, well, that's part of my freedom of speech. I can say whatever I want. Well, maybe in your house you can, but not in Facebook's house or YouTube's house or Twitter's house. You got to play by the rules. And trust me, there's a lot you can't say. For the most part, they'll let you say almost anything. Just say it reasonably. And don't attack somebody and don't incite violence. Constructive criticism is great, but attacking is something different. Let's see. Said Mark Lucky, a digital strategist who previously worked at Twitter, Reddit, and Facebook. So he has a lot of experience in dealing with this. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg has said he believes the platform should enable as much expression as possible. And I agree with him. And that social media companies shouldn't be the arbiter of truth of everything that people say online. And they're not. The only thing that these companies are silencing is hate and incitement of violence and racism, which is a part of hate, in my opinion. If you stop the hate and the incitement of violence, you're going to be good. If you're a content creator and you stop the hate speech and the incitement of violence, and you keep your swearing to a minimum, and you don't spew your hatred out against someone, you could say, hey, I disagree with this person's opinion. I think that there's something wrong with them, but it's their opinion. But what do these right-wingers do a lot of times? If it's, let's say it's a gay man, they'll call the gay man the derogatory word for a gay man. They'll say that, is, and I'm not going to say these words and get demonetized and get removed. You know what I'm saying? You folks have dealt with it. These people think that they can go out on a public platform and respond to people in the protected class, and basically, call them a derogatory name. Like I said, for gay people, there's a derogatory word for it that a lot of these conservatives have used when they have a difference of opinion with them, rather than just saying, hey, dude, I disagree with you. It doesn't matter that you're gay. You happen to be gay, but your opinion has nothing to do with your sexual orientation. It has to do with your opinion within your brain. That's the difference right there, folks. What part of that don't you understand, right? That's what it's all about. Let me check out the Facebook side of things real quick. Hey, Doug, how you doing, bro? What's going on, man? Welcome to the show. How long you been here for, bro? Yeah, what are your thoughts, Doug, regarding what's been going on with Donald Trump and now the transition to Joe Biden? Have you been paying attention to all that, bro, or have you been busy? I hear you got a new girlfriend, bro. I'm happy for you. My brother told me about your new girl, and I'm glad to hear that you're doing well, bro. We need to set up a poker date sometime soon, man. It's been a while. I miss all you guys. But thank you for being here, Doug. Happy New Year to you and your family. And if you have talked to Jeff lately, I haven't heard from him in a while, which is what I'm trying to say. Say hello to Jeff for me as well. But yeah, I'm also broadcasting my YouTube live streams on YouTube. So I'm live on YouTube right now and simulcasting at the same time on Facebook, man. And I'm really glad to be reconnecting with all you folks. So thank you for being here, bro. Appreciate that. Nonetheless, a recent Pew Research Survey Center found that nearly 3/4 of U.S. adults believe social media sites intentionally censor political viewpoints. No, they don't. They censor hate and incitement of violence. How many times am I going to say that and not sound like a broken record? In the last 2 years, 2 congressional hearings have focused on the question of text censorship. It's not happening. They're just they're just enforcing their guidelines. That's it. Follow their guidelines and they won't have to enforce them on you. Plain and simple. We hear that there's an anti-conservative bias on the part of Facebook or other platforms because conservatives keep saying that. They're saying that because they're angry and bitter that they can't spew their hate, racism, and incitement of violence because they don't love themselves. These people are angry and bitter, lower class, uneducated people. And I'm not saying all of them are like that, but the ones that are doing this are angry, bitter, lower class, uneducated people that were, not raised properly, came from a broken household and are struggling and just don't want to, focus on bettering themselves. They would rather just complain because they didn't have a fair shot at life, right? These are the types of people that you're dealing with. These are the conservatives that are saying that, we are being silenced because we're conservatives. Conservative speech is being silenced. No, your hate and incitement of violence is being silenced. And you're projecting your insecurities because you don't love yourselves. And you can't stand seeing other people like me in a good place being happy. So you come and attack people like me, and then you get removed and you wonder why you get removed? Come on. Seriously. Says Susan Bennett, Executive Director of the Dangerous Speech Project, an organization based in Washington, D.C. that has advised Facebook, Twitter, Google, and other internet companies on how to diminish harmful content online while protecting freedom of speech. You just get rid of these people because they're emotionally and mentally unstable. That's the problem. I wouldn't say they're bad people for the most part. They're just mentally and emotionally unstable because they didn't have the best upbringing. They're not happy within themselves. This has nothing to do with, how do I say this the right way? These people really don't want to be this way, which is what I'm trying to say. But they don't know anything better because they've always struggled in life based on their upbringing. And all they're doing now is projecting their insecurities. They don't even realize how they're coming off. So when they get shut down, they wonder why they get shut down. And I'm here to say, look, you're getting shut down because you're attacking people because you're unhappy within yourself. And you feel by attacking these other people, it's going to make yourself feel better because you're that insecure. It's the bottom line. That's exactly what's been happening. I just say it as I see it. That's it. That's it. Wow, I'm getting a lot of messages. Things are really beginning to heat up in Coach Eli's world. All right. But she adds, I would be surprised if that were the case, in part because on most days, the most popular, most visited groups on Facebook and pages on Facebook are very conservative ones. I keep saying that. The conservatives are more active on social media than the liberals. Bottom line. They're right. They're right. She said she also finds it interesting that many conservatives or ultra-conservatives complain that the platforms have a bias against them at the same time as Black Lives Matter activists feel that the platforms are disproportionately taking down their content. It's not true. It boils down to one thing, like I keep saying. You violate the guidelines and you're out. Okay? If you don't, use hate speech, incite hate or violence, for the most part, you'll be good. That's it. Or don't violate someone's privacy, you'll be good. That's it. That's it. A 2019 review of over 400 political pages on Facebook conducted by the left-leaning media watchdog Media Matters found conservative pages performed about equally as well as liberal ones. I think they perform better, in my opinion, because there are more conservatives active on social media than liberals. So for me to even hear that the liberal pages and the conservative pages are equally active, that's, new to me. I'll have to do more research. And if I find out more info on that, I'll do a stream on that. I'll do a show on that. But reliable data on the subject is scarce, and social media platforms are largely secretive about how they make decisions on content moderation. Well, they're not going to give away their secrets so people can learn how to bypass them. Come on. Come on now. Jeez. Let's see what's going on Facebook. Doug says, good to see you too, Elias. You do a really good job on your station. Well, thank you. Well, my YouTube channels and all that. Really, Doug, why do you say that if you're still around, bro? I appreciate it, man. I really love what I do here, bro. I really love the coaching thing. And, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life to help people, man. This is what I love doing. Thank you, Doug. I appreciate it, man. You're a good man. I've known you, Doug, for over 30 years, going back to the Sarah High School days. You remember those Sarah High School plywood walls with the carpet on them in the hallways? And people would just, throw people against those walls and you'd bounce off of them and it'd make that hollow sound, the bouncing sound. As much as I don't miss those Sarah High School days, I kind of miss them too, man. Let's see, graduated 92, 02, 12, 22. Oh, man, 28 years ago, Doug. Doug, we've known each other for like over 30 years now, huh? It's been at least 30, 31 years. Wow, man, we're getting older, man. Anyway, nothing happening on the YouTube side of things. Let's continue. We're almost done here. We are almost done. Amid ongoing criticism, Facebook commissioned an independent review headed by former Republican Senator John Kyle to investigate accusations of anti-conservative bias. Kyle's 2019 report detailed recommendations to improve transparency, and Facebook agreed to create an oversight board for content removal decisions. Facebook said it would continue to examine and, where necessary, adjust our own policies and practices in the future. Both YouTube and Facebook have been adjusting a lot. And while it's not perfect, and there are times I wish they would remove certain things that they haven't yet, they are getting better each and every day. And I got to tell you, folks, I knew this was coming. I knew in 2021, if we had, a transfer of power, from Trump to Biden or from, the right to the left, I knew we were going to get right back on track. That's just my opinion. The people on the right might think differently. They probably do. But I knew things were going to start getting better. And what I'm seeing now that these high-tech companies are doing to stop hate, violence, incitement and all that, I'm all for it. I'm all for what they're doing. I support them. Because again, it has nothing to do with freedom of speech. It has to do with hate and incitement of violence. And again, like I said yesterday, I'll say this again on this show today. If you're on the right, or even on the left, but more so the right, thinks like this. If you're on the right or the left, and you feel that hate speech, and incitement of violence should be considered a part of your freedom of speech, and you should be allowed to do that on social media, let me know in the Facebook comment section or YouTube comment section, and I'll do us both the biggest favor. I'll block you and remove you from my life. I don't want to deal with people like that. I want nothing to do with you. I'm a drama-free zone, and I'm a loving and caring person that loves everyone. Okay. According to Fernandez, the focus should be on requiring tech companies to publicly reveal their moderation rules and tactics. They become a lot more transparent. Facebook has, and so has YouTube. So there's the answer to that. Let's go on. Benish points out we have virtually zero oversight regarding takedowns. So in truth, content moderation is more complicated than just take it down or leave it up, referring to the fact that to date, there has been little publicly available data provided by tech companies to allow an evaluation of the process. Couldn't have said it better myself. Makes sense. Protecting free expression while keeping people safe is a challenge that requires constant refinement and improvement. Right. It's not easy to do when you have these platforms like Facebook and Facebook and YouTube, which is owned by Google. YouTube's owned by Google, Facebook owns itself. Okay. And they've got over 2 billion people on their platform each month. They're doing the best they can with what they've got. We work with external experts and affected communities around the world to develop our policies and have a global team dedicated to enforcing them, Facebook said in the statement. Facebook is much better at removing things than YouTube. I will tell you, with Facebook, you flag something down, typically within 15 minutes to 2 hours, if it violates their terms of service or their guidelines, they remove it. If not, they'll get back to you and tell you that, it's not a removable offense, which is what I'm trying to say. With YouTube, it's a little different. It's a crapshoot. But with Facebook, they're very good at taking things down. I hope YouTube gets that level one day, and they probably will. They probably will. Especially after what happened last week at the Capitol building. They're going to really crack down more on those things. Wow. I'm getting hammered with messages. This is good. I'm going to enjoy a night sitting on my couch with my brand new iPhone 12 Pro Max and responding to people. Folks, I'm really loving what's happening lately here. On my YouTube channel and on Facebook. I really love the engagement, and I really feel things are going to start shifting for the better for all of us. And the statement from Twitter said, Twitter does not use political ideology to make any decisions, whether related to ranking content on our service or how we enforce our rules. In fact, from a simple business perspective and to serve the public conversation, Twitter is incentivized to keep all voices on the service. Right. They don't want to get rid of you because the more people on the platform, the more valuable the platform is, the more advertisements they can sell because there's a larger audience. So they're not going to get rid of you unless they absolutely feel you're destroying their platform, being a disruption to their platform, which is what I'm trying to say, a better way of saying it. Just check things one more time. Okay, we're clear on Facebook, and Mutt says we'll catch up with all later. All right, Mutt, have a great night. We'll be wrapping things up here very soon. Thank you for stopping by. All right. Meanwhile, users like Weisinger struggle with mixed feelings about social media sites that promise connection but sometimes leave them out in the cold. Okay? Whether we like it or not, we are all on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter all day long, and even on YouTube. Don't forget YouTube. I love YouTube. And when they take us off the banned list, I don't know anyone who doesn't post a status on Facebook right away after the ban is lifted. I'm back, y'all, said Weisinger. Right. Right. I've never been banned on any social media site. I think one time, because I was posting so much on Facebook and they were just changing their rules, when I used to run in-person networking events, they didn't allow me to share postings for like a week or so because I was oversharing, and I shared like to 100 different group pages and stuff. They have limits in place for that. I didn't know that at that point. And now I do. So I'm a lot more careful, with how often I post, and how much I post every so often. But I've never been banned off of any platform for anything because I abide by the guidelines and I'm just a normal, decent person. But it's not just about the guidelines, folks. It's about you being a good person. If you're a good, decent person, these social media companies are going to know that. And they're not going to remove you if you're a good person. That's the bottom line. Whether we like it or not, I already read that. Last but not least, it is like an abusive relationship. You can't even leave the abusive relationship because you become so used to it, and depend on it. Yep. Yeah, we love social media. We love social media. That's how we communicate nowadays. That's that. Now, let me go ahead and switch over to full screen. And before I wrap things up, folks, I want to mention one more thing here that may clear things up for you folks. If you haven't already understood what I've been trying to say this entire show regarding these social media sites and these, big tech giants not trying to censor your freedom of speech, and rather they just want to remove hate and incitement of violence from the platforms. If you don't already understand that, maybe this example here will get you to understand it. Okay? And I'm gonna pose this question to everybody, whether you're on the left, the right, or down the middle, regardless of your views. But more so, I would really like to hear from everyone, but more so to you right-wingers out there. Let me ask you this directly as well. Okay? Let's say you're a married man and you bring, a few people over for a party, like 5 or 10 people to your house for a party. You're sitting down in your living room, you're sitting next to your wife, and one of the guys that, comes over, says, your wife is, says something hateful and negative towards your wife. I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to get removed here. But let's say, they start attacking your wife. They start calling your wife names in your own home, right? Are you going to sit there and say, hey, dude, I don't appreciate what you're saying, but, it's your freedom of speech to do so. So if you want to call my wife names while you're here in our house as a guest, it's part of your freedom of speech. So, it's all good, right? How stupid does that sound, right? And how is your wife going to feel that you didn't defend her or basically, put that guy in his place and say, hey, dude, you're in my house and you do not speak that way to my wife or anyone else while you're in my house. Next time you do it, I'm going to throw you out, right? Think about it. So think about it. Would you right-wingers especially you right-wing Caucasian conservative men that seem to have the biggest issue with being silenced, like I mentioned before, would you allow your friends to come into your house and talk smack to your wife and say, it's okay, guys, you can talk smack about my wife because it's part of your freedom of speech? Would you do that? Think about it. You know what the answer is to that. So now, maybe you can put two and two together and understand that on social media, you're not being silenced for your freedom of speech. Your freedom of speech is not being silenced. Your hate and incitement of violence and your racism, for example, is what's getting you silenced. You get rid of that, talk about whatever you want, and I guarantee you'll be fine. That's it. That's all I got to say. Hopefully you all understand this a little more clearly now. With that being said, I'm going to wrap things up, folks. I want to thank you all for being here. Thank you to Doug for being here on the Facebook side. Thank you to Maria for being here. Thank you to Scott for being here on Facebook. Also, Lewis Fuller on the YouTube side of things, and Nuts World, thank you so much for being here, and thank you to anyone else who was watching behind the scenes. With that being said, folks, if anything develops, I will, come back and do another live tomorrow, probably at some point. There's a lot happening, folks. As we get closer to Inauguration Day, I'm going to keep talking about things. And if there are any topics that you would like for me to discuss on the business or personal side of things, or if you want to join me live on the air and do an interview, if you're an entrepreneur and you also have a story to share, or if you're just someone, an average everyday person with a story to share, I'd love to get you live on the air. Just email me at Coach Eli at coacheli@melas.com. My email is in the description section of the Facebook live stream video and live stream replay. And it's also below the description of the YouTube. Excuse me. Oh, gosh. It's also the description of the YouTube description section below. Also, on the replay of the YouTube live stream, I will be sharing the link to the article I just dissected a second ago. So with that being said, have yourselves a great night, and I'll see you all next time. Take care. Bye. Bye.